So today we're gonna be doing a Kensei Face Puncher Blade Fury Amara build. This is my 19th Melee Amara save of any sort. Um I wanted to make like also Unweave the Rainbow, like max out Unweave the Rainbow, and also like do harm and awaken for the strongest Unweave the Rainbow you could have. Cause, Melee and Splash apply to frozen enemies with it, and I wanted to see how strong would that be on this kind of build. So let's do it. For the gear we have three face punchers, one with which is times 14, one with which is times 7, both with terror cryo damage, because this is also going to be a terror build. And we also have a face puncher with melee attacks applied terror. That's gonna be for whenever we do Frozen Heart, because we can use two shields on this build for mobbing: the Triple Absorb Cryo Old God with ASC Terror, and a Frozen Heart with Action Skill Start Annoyance. So you can either have consistent freezing with this and one shot with the face puncher, or this for pure cryo damage increases for the body and mind, and also Terror Cryo. You can even freeze with Tandava if you don't manage to one-shot the mob with it, which is rare, but it can freeze. Or it can not one-shot and freeze the enemy, and that will allow you to easily wipe out the mob. And then a Guardian Angel with 150-90, this is going to be for like Tandava or Fish. You can also do... Actually, I'm going to do Terror Cryo on this as well. I didn't think of that. It just always defaults to 150-90 of the Guardian Angel. So I can just do add underscore to underscore INV, paste code, and we have a Terror Cryo Guardian Angel. So we have a Guardian Angel with Terror Cryo, that's going to be for Tandava Fish. And also if you have a lot of body and mind procs, then you can switch to the Guardian Angel if you want, and increase the damage if like you're doing the Valkyries. Create an amplifier for movement speed. You don't need to have an island on this, you're not going to be using this for shooting. And then we're also doing Blade Fury, like I said. Why don't I have Terror Cryo on this? So once again, I could just press the up arrow to go to the last command used. And then paste the code again. And now we have a Terror Cryo Blade Fury. So we have a Terror Cryo Blade Fury. This is going to be our second shooting thing for the build. This can also do huge damage. While shoot, like I said, we're either doing a triple Absorb Cryo Old God with AC Terror, or a Frozen Heart with Action Skill Start for mobbing. For bosses, I'm going to be doing level 1 Revolter, Triple Fleet. Why is it ASC Fire? So we have a Triple Fleet level 1 Revolter with Action Skill Start Annoyed. That's going to be for bosses. For our class mode, we're going to be doing a Kensei with +3 Unweave the Rainbow and +2 Dreadful Freedom, or also No Mistakes in Nature could also work. We're doing Splash Damage Radius, Splash Damage, and Action Skill Damage. You can also do Melee Damage for the passive, Action Skill Cooldown. For Artifact for mobbing, we're doing an Icebreaker Static Charge with Cryo Damage, Melee Damage, AoE Damage. Other passives that could be good are Radiation Damage, Action Skill Cooldown. I mean, that could just also work like this. But we're doing a level 1 or a max level Radiation Recurring Hex with Terror Damage and Fire Rate. I also want to have some radiation on the build. I want to have explosions, because explosions are cool. Like, what's a cryo melee build without explosions? Like, that's not even a full cryo build. You need to have explosions on every build for pleasure and satisfaction. For our bossing grenades, we're doing the triple link, every element fish. Why are they not terror damage fire? Like, what? I'm watching that's Suntium. And also for other mobbing grenades, we have the level 1 Mesmer or a level 1 Pierce. Also need to be terror damage and fire rate. I think I was planning to change the Anoint, but I just never really did it. So we have the triple fish, triple link, every element fish with terror damage and fire rate, and also the auto grenades with terror damage and fire rate. We also have a Snowdrift Victory Rush with double move speed and AoE damage. For a bossing artifact, we're doing an Unleash the Dragon. I know that's kind of boring, but I just did that for consistency. And we're also doing a level 1 size disruption for debuffing for stronger bosses for the Unleash the Dragon, like True Hag, even though you don't even need a size disruption. But if you do debuff though, you can kill bosses with 1 TM Unleash the Dragon dot damage tick, which is kinda cool. And that's it for the gear. For the skill tree, I could also have the Quasar here. So we have a Quasar level. Oh, I didn't. Fuck. I didn't remove the sticky part. Shit. I've not done this in a while. Got me some slack. I got sucked into Grim's cot. There we go. Anyway, that's it for the gear. For the skill tree, for blue tree, we're doing 5 points into the harm for increased action skill damage, which applies to body and mind, and most importantly, Unweave the Rainbow. So that's gonna be really good. 3 points to fast hands. 3 points to fast hands. 3 points to fast hands. What? Hold on. What? 3 points into fast hands. I don't know why I said fast like that. For increased wheel speed, swap speed, and mode switch speed. That's quality of life, because we will be swapping on this build for the Guardian Angel and stuff. 1 point into Violent Tapestry. 2 spec down the skill tree to get down to 5 points into Alacrity for wheel speed, which is also quality of life. If you don't want to swap reload, then that's fine. You can basically have 500% reload speed. Okay, I'm over exaggerating, but you can have a lot of reload speed, and you'll pretty much reload the face puncher and the blade here instantly with this, and also trusting yourself, but we'll get to that in a second. Ascendant to buff or expedite. 3 points to late bear for increased action skill damage on mobs hit by our Tandava, which should also be procced by body and mind, but thank you for testing. 3 points into Wrath for increased gun damage. This does apply to the face puncher, so that's good. 1 point into Remnant for the ball. 3 points into Awakening to buff our rush spec effectiveness. This is gonna buff our Tandava, to harm, which will also just straight up mean that we're buffing Unweave the Rainbow even further. You can also do Remnant for like boss one-shots, like if you Tandava a mob, then you get the Remnant and the Remnant hits the boss and then the boss explodes. And then Avatar to cast our action skill twice. For Orange Tree, we're doing 3 points into Steady Hands for weapon handling and accuracy. This is quality of life for the face puncher, because it's pretty inaccurate. 2 points into Infusion. We're specking down. Those are pretty much leftover points. Illuminated Fist for increased melee damage and converting our action skill element on our melees. And 1 point into Tempest. Like I said, these are leftover point. And then Green Tree, we're doing 3 points into personal space for up to 55% bonus gun on DV2. The closer we are to the enemy. You can also do a breaker on this build with plus 3 personal space, plus 1 find your center, and plus 1 whatever the third skill is. I think it's Jab Cross, but I don't remember. For up to 108% bonus gun on DV2 the closer you are to the enemy. But I prefer the Kensei for stronger Unweave the Rainbow, because we will be freezing on this build. 2 points into Clarity to get down to pretty much the corrosive element, even though we're not going to be doing that. But there are also good skills here. I mean, you could... Okay, maybe I shouldn't... Okay, because Helping Hands is kind of useless. So I decided to go with Arms Deal instead. So 3 points personal space, 2 into Clarity, 2 points into Arms Deal, and 3 points into Samsara. This will give us bonus gun damage and HP regen. We don't have Sustainment on this build, so this is going to be one of our ways to survive along with Ebb and Flow, but we'll get to that in a second. 2 points into Arms Deal, this will give us a little bit of splash damage, but we'll also do this, expect this to get down to Final Setup, which is, 100% bonus melee damage, which is good. And then for Purple Tree, you can instead do 5 points into No Mistakes Nature and 1 point into Trusting Yourself. But we already have so much melee damage that we don't need even more. So quality of life will be better overall. by doing 5 points into trusting yourself for real speed, charge speed, weapon swap speed, and then 1 point into the normal station nature. If you really want to have more melee damage, even though you don't need it, then you can go 5 in here and 1 in here. And then 5, I need to take a breath. 5 points into heavy rain for increased splash damage and projectile speed. Splash damage will buff our Tendava and our body and mind procs. 30 points into Unleash the Rainbow for up to bonus for a bonus element with melee or splash damage on opposing enemies. Unleash the Rainbow gets 5.5 times mayhem scaling, I believe. But you can buff it because it does action skill damage technically. With the Kensei you can buff points into it for an even stronger Unleash the Rainbow. And I found out a little thing about the Kensei. I finally figured out why my Psycho Stabber on the True Melee Kensei Cryo Amara build that I made 1.5 years ago, my Psycho Stabber was like insane on Shield Guardian takedown mobs. Is I realized that the Kensei gives you a bonus element, which is melee damage. So technically, you can shoot a non-splash weapon and a non-melee weapon at a frozen mob, and you'll get Unleash the Rainbow on it, which is crazy. So that gave me a lot of ideas for future builds. So, be prepared for some Unleash the Rainbow action coming to theaters near you soon, TM. Yeah, another reason why this skill is my goat. 1 point into Ebb and Flow for survivability, one of our means, like I said, along with Samsara. And Combo Breaker to have a chance to restore cooldown on melee kills. That way we have pretty much like no cooldown, and 5 points into Joyful Freedom for more melee damage. This skill stacks infinitely, so you can technically like get many stacks if you want you can also Fake Grasp, because Fake Grasping stacks this skill. So you can stack up 98% bonus melee damage. You can have like 4 stacks. I think the most I've ever had was like 4 stacks at once. So you can get 392% bonus melee damage from this if you have 4 stacks of this. Which is kinda crazy. You can also do burn both ends, but you're gonna be freezing mobs. So you don't need this. You're gonna be freezing mobs, they won't be shooting at you, you'll one-shot the mobs, you'll keep freezing the mobs, so like you'll pretty much never be shot anyway, unless you're at the bridge of True Malone Takedown. 30 points into body and mind for splash damage on our melees. Good skill overall. Use on most Amara builds like you already know. Free their soul for Cryo Splinters on after we kill a frozen mob. This is Remnant. This is like mini Remnant because it does a lot of damage. You can hit for hundreds of millions of damage. You can even hit visual damage cap with this if you want. But it's not as crazy as Remnant. And then clear the mind to ignore elemental resistances. That's why we mainly use Cryo, even Cryo on Wotan. And Cryo will be our main action skill augment, our main action skill element. Our main action skill augment will be Expedite, and our action skill will be Tendava for our mechanical modifiers, so doing Speed Demon, Healy Avenger, Laser Fair, or Drone Ranger, and Postmortem. So, yapping for 14 minutes. Great. Ooh. So, you can start. Actually, we'll do the Blade Fury first instead of the Face Punch. We'll do Face Punch for the bridge. For this part, we're gonna do Blade Fury, and I'll put on a skin. This one. So we can start by chucking hexes, throwing a Tandava, and then shooting the mobs. You don't even need to freeze to one shot. But to be fair, these are basic Ratch. Okay, see, you can freeze turret guys. Somebody didn't believe me when I said that you can freeze turret guys. Well, now they do believe me. I used to think that that turret guys weren't freezable. until I did it myself. So you can thank me for testing. You know, I wasn't even testing, I just kind of found out on accident that you can freeze turret guys. Boom. I don't have the crossing heart, I forgot. But you will still be freezing mobs very often, even by just shooting the Blade Fury. Or Tandaving. Oh no, Cryo Heavy. Okay, never mind. Even Cryo Heavies aren't an issue as long as they're not a badass Cryo Heavy. If they're a badass Cryo Heavy, then you're gonna have a problem. Because literally most of your damage is Cryo. Except for the static charge, which is obviously shock. Hold on, could I get a... Okay, I didn't manage to get an explosion on collecting because I threw the hex too late. But this is another one of those builds where the run itself is going to be shorter than the actual explanation and showcase of the build. Like in terms of gear and skill trees. And also, if you do want to use this lesser option on this build, even if you don't need to, then please do not use the radiation one. I have ditched using a radiation lesser option. It has crashed my PC so many times from the radiation particles. I really do not recommend using the radiation one. And then you send out a boom. We bring the boom. So now be prepared for like specific guns Amara builds with the Kensei and Frozen Heart. See, I one-shot that baddest dog with a Blade Fury shot while they were frozen. But to be fair, takedown mobs have less, or mobs during the boss fight in the takedowns have the normal HP, they don't have the takedown HP. Boom. Did they get that skull? No. We're gonna try to do a skip of sorts. Switch to Face Slam just in case. Switch to a Snowdrift Victory Rush. And then get 3 kills. For Max Speed Demon. We're gonna try to skip the boxes. Without jumping off the map. Holy... I keep hitting the corpses. Holy fuck. No, okay, this is bad. Maybe I do need to... Okay, I'm gonna just do this. 1, 2, 3. You're welcome. I'll switch back to level 1 Hex. Fill out the Snowdrift. And now with max stacks of Speed Demon, you can slide here. Okay. I'm pretty sure you could have made it without Face Slam cancelling by using your emote keys. Yeah, you can do that. And I started doing that more often. Do I have the right gear? Just to make sure. Yep. Okay, we're at the bridge, so we're gonna do Face Puncher. Which, in my opinion, is more fun. Before it was the Blade Fury, now with the Face Puncher. It also used to be like, I keep changing between my favorite, fake melee guns. Now in a specific month it could be the Blade Fury, in a specific one could be the Face Puncher, and like over and over. One or the other will always be my favorite. Because I can't decide on which one is actually my favorite. Face Puncher is just easier to use, but Blade Fury in my opinion is stronger. Boom. Everything's frozen with a Pandava. I want to point out, that's not even the Frozen Heart. I'm still running the old guard. We're not doing the Revolter for mobbing because the Revolter's for noobs. And you don't need that much damage for mobbing. Okay, Cryo Heavy. Great. So for Cryo Heavy, you're gonna do this. Boom. Use of the video. Okay. And the bridge is already done. Now I pray that I don't get Cryo Heavies. Okay, Shulk and explosive, and then fuck. It's a badass one as well. Boom, and another cryo one. What? How'd you not die? Boom. Get died. Switch to the corrosive fish, revolter, I'll use the dragon, and that's it. That's all you need. The way you boss your shield with, you know, I didn't really think of bossing your shield, of a way to boss your shield. So I guess you could do the level 1 hex to boss your shield, like that. And if it happens to dart you, then it's gonna be a very weak dart, because, you know, level 1. Boom. We don't even have Anima on the build. Seriously? Okay, I forgot. I'll use the dragon, right. Pop. Then pop. Yoosh. I didn't get the top half. There we go. And that's Groundbreaker built up by Don't use the dragon. Very fun build, I recommend it. Distributor, Chicken Giant, Breaker, Chick's Worth, Chick's Boom, Nagata, Bitch. That's it, there's a spark plug here. Kinda bad. Literally no damage passes. Curse of Resistance, Electrocute Chance, and Cryo Efficiency. Wow. Anyway, I'll upload the save file in my Discord server, which I'll leave a link to in the description. Like always, see you tomorrow with 3 videos, with the bonus video, another build video, because there will be another build video, and the Maurice's Black Knight the Vending Machine. So see you tomorrow. Bye bye.